All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about Justice League. Just very recently, there was a picture that was posted up about Justice League, and we know bits and pieces about Justice League, but not much, and that's great. That's fantastic. We know bits and pieces of Wonder Woman, but we don't know much. That's great as well. That's fantastic. The way how WB is now releasing information about these movies is perfect. I just wish they'd keep it just like that. You don't need to be pushing a whole ton of stuff all the time in front of people's faces about a movie. You time yourself. People are very interested. They're looking forward to the next little bit and piece of Justice League movie coming out. That's good. That's where you want them to be. All right. You don't need to give them stuff. You give them stuff just once ever so often. And I would advise WB, now that they've taken my advice, to just give just little pieces of the movie. I don't care if people say that the movie has been leaked this way or leaked that way. It doesn't really matter. Those are gossips and rumors. What WB and Zack Snyder and company, even with Wonder Woman, I'm glad they're not putting out any more trailers on Wonder Woman. It's quite in June. Justice League is quite in November. Next year, you guys need to just cap it on information like you're doing. Let people's interest build and build and build. Let them not know what the movie's about. It's very important for people not to really know what the movie's about. That's what made Civil War good, because the whole storyline wasn't given away. That's what made what's that movie, whatever it was, I can't remember what the name of the movie is now, but that's what makes movies good, when you can go in there and realize there's a story, follow the story, enjoy the story. Suicide Squad, the big mistake they made was they gave a whole ton of trailers before putting out the story. You put out your trailers, you put out your little 30-second stuff when the movie starts playing in cinemas. That's when you start picking it up and you give these little clips. As you approach the time, you give little clips. Don't give a whole ton of the movie, man. Don't give it away. So far, they've been not releasing a whole ton of official things for Justice League. That's good. Justice League is far away, very, very far away. So just tone it down. Don't be giving a whole set of stuff. People are going to be looking all over the internet for it. I've been looking all over the internet for Justice League stuff, but I'm glad you guys have me looking. You got me interested, so that when something drops on Justice League like this year, obviously gorgeous picture, by the way, when this stuff drops with Justice League, it's got people more intrigued, wondering what are they looking at, because we don't know. They're wonderful costumes. The Flash, he seems to have battle damage on his costume right here. Batman looks like Batman. He seems to be in his armored battle suit somewhat. Not really, but kinda. He really looks badass. Wonder Woman looks badass. Wonder Woman movies coming out. So there's a lot of eager anticipation about what are we expected to see. And some people are going to go extreme with their expectations and start imagining all kinds of crap. Forget those people. Right? The important thing is, don't give away your storyline. Let us see your storyline. We want to be carried on a journey. And that's the most important thing. With Batman v Superman, you guys kind of gave away the best parts of the movie. The fight scene between Batman and Superman, you kind of gave away a lot of the movie. With Suicide Squad, the same thing. You gave all these trailers kind of giving away the movie before we got to see the movie. And so it can damper people's anticipation. So don't dump too much of your material off. Try to hold back some material. People are going to claim there are leaks. People are going to claim this and that. Don't buy into it and therefore dump everything off. Stay your guns. Keep with your storyline. And then produce it and show it to the people. We want to know what the story is. Most important in storytelling is the story. So, of course, characterization and so on is important, but the story is important. So I think Zack Snyder's doing a good thing. It's way in the distance. Justice League is a highly anticipated film, and all people need is a good story. Only one is a good story. That's bottom line of the thing. And Zack tells good stories. Just don't when it comes to advertising, don't just release everything. Like with Wonder Woman, Nobody knows what the story is still. Nobody knows what the story of Wonder Woman is. No one. And that's great. That's how you want it kept. Because when you go into the cinema, it's great to see iconic figure like Wonder Woman. It's great to see an iconic figure like Batman. It's great to see an iconic figure like The Flash. They really feel bigger than life. Little kids, people are going to love that. But we want to know how these iconic figures fit into the story. We kind of have a general idea of what the story is for both movies, for Wonder Woman and for Justice League. We know that Wonder Woman at the end of her story is going to be one who is going to move herself away from the world. So the big question is, what made Wonder Woman stop wanting to show herself to the world? We're going to know why we're going to know about the evolution of Wonder Woman. So we kind of know how the story ends, and we kind of know how the story begins. We kind of understand that Wonder Woman's not going to be so wrapped up in the heroic aspect of it being a hero because of certain things that come up result. But we don't know the details, and that's great. Keep it that way. Don't mess up the story. When Civil War came out, they only started doing the really quick 30-second clips after the movie featured in cinemas. Don't do your 30-second clips, the week of the movie coming out. Don't do that. Don't empty out the movie. If you're going to do a 30-second clip, do a rehash 30-second clip. Like how Suicide Squad did rehashes until they came close to the movie and then kind of vomited out everything. Don't do that. Just give us rehashes. If you wanted to give us just something a little extra, fine. But that's it. Stuff leaks to the media about certain things in your movie. It doesn't mean you have to confirm it by putting it out in a trailer. Sometimes just let the leaks go, let the rumors go. Once it's not something that's literally in the movie that comes out there because somebody sabotaged you, and even if it does, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's in the movie. Just release your stuff slowly, because when the movie comes out, everybody's going to see what they need to see. And then after the movie has come out in cinemas for a week or so, or even in the week it comes out in the cinemas, then you can give a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And that'll get people to even go into the cinema even more if you get good word of mouth. So Suicide Squad got some pretty good word of mouth. If Wonder Woman does very well, it's really going to hype everybody for Justice League. Please, WB, please, Zack Snyder, please do not release a whole set of information on these things. Let it be that the story is hidden from all of us. We don't want to know the best scenes of the movie either. Don't want that. Keep those things back for when we go into the theater. And then, if you have a supplemental DVD or whatever else, just like how you kept back those best scenes from the movie to put into your DVD as supplemental, well, and you had that as secret from us, well, then do the same for the movie. Because all people want is a good story. And please do a good story for the theater so that everybody can follow it. People want to be able to follow things, right? And once Zack Snyder does these things, once Patty Jenkins does those things for Wonder Woman and for Justice League, we're going to be all happy. You don't have to be releasing something every single day. You don't have to be releasing something in people's eyes all the time. People are captivated in Wonder Woman. People are captivated in Justice League. You don't need to release anything for the rest of this year, actually. You can just put out a picture if you want. Tantalize people. Have them anticipate things. You don't have to be supplementing them all the time and wasting your money doing trailers. Trailers are cool, and especially the people who are doing the trailers, they do really excellent trailers, but sometimes they give too much, or they keep on showing more stuff. Don't show more stuff. Your trailer should be cleverly done in such a way it's good enough. Don't blow your load on one trailer. Let's see the movie of Wonder Woman. I want to see Wonder Woman. I don't want it spoiled through trailers. We've got enough. Wonder Woman doesn't need a new trailer until the week, the week of its showing in cinemas. Once it is shown in cinemas for a week, you can give something new because people have already gone and seen the movie. Don't go giving people something new. Same thing with Suicide Squad. I don't know why they emptied their load a week before. A lot of people are going to be so interested in the movie that they're going to want to see new material. And you guys dumped a ton of material off on Suicide Squad. Let me show you how much material already has come out in Justice League and Wonder Woman alone. Zack Snyder put this clip snippet of Wonder Woman. Excellent, beautiful picture of Wonder Woman here. This is just iconic, okay? Zack was smart enough not to do anything after that, okay? Batman v Superman. You guys don't need to show Steppenwolf again. This one picture of Steppenwolf is enough. Don't show Steppenwolf again until the movie, okay? Steppenwolf is absolutely a main character in the movie, so we really want to see how his role plays in this thing. It's not so much how much of Steppenwolf we see, but whenever we see Steppenwolf, it must mean something. It must count for something. Steppenwolf must be sort of like he must mean something to this movie. You know, he must mean something to this movie. And that's the important thing about Steppenwolf. Mira. We've gotten to see Mira. Okay, we know Mira plays a role in Justice League. We've seen her in a costume and everything. That's fantastic. Okay, there's no reason to see Mira yet again in a trailer or anything. We don't need to see Mira again. Hold Mira back. We've seen an idea of Mira. We don't need to see Mira again. We've seen a great share of Batman. Since he's a principal character in the movie, obviously in your trailer leading up to the movie, we need to see Batman. But, mind you, we don't need to see much more of Batman because we've seen a lot of Batman in the trailers before. We've seen Bruce Wayne and we've seen Batman. So I'm assuming they're going to hold back quite a lot of Batman scenes in the final Justice League movie, but I do believe they're going to add something new about Batman as we move along, which would not be strange to us. It's just going to be maybe a brief half a second of new Batman, if you're paying attention. Don't need to add anything else. But since he's a principal, you have to show him. All the principals you'll have to show them except for Superman. There's no need to show Superman at all. I don't care. For all the promotional videos and stuff, we don't need to see Superman. Leave Superman out. It's not absolutely important we see Superman, his return in this movie. You can show signs of Superman. You can show that, you can hint towards that Superman's there. Everybody already knows Superman's coming back. So it's not necessary for you to ever show any of Superman returning in the movie until the movie comes out. There is no reason to be able to have to tell us, well, you could tell us a little bit more about Aquaman in the story, right? You can tell us a little bit more about Aquaman, a little bit more about Batman. A little bit more. Like, we already know what Aquaman's about and everything. So, you can go one of two ways. You can go the route of showing us who Mystery Aquaman is, because we don't know much about him and his world. Or you can go, because everybody here is mysterious. Aquaman right now is mysterious. By the time Justice League comes out, Wonder Woman will not be a mystery anymore. Cyborg is quite mysterious. And the Flash, you got a little bit of background with the Flash. A little bit more background with the Flash than anybody else here. My point anyway is this. The principles are Batman, Wonder Woman. Okay? These are the principles. The story is built around them. So it makes sense to put a little bit more about Wonder Woman, especially after the Wonder Woman movie, especially if Wonder Woman movie becomes a success. If it's not a success, you just hold it as it is for now. But for sure, I think Wonder Woman, because you got so much background on her, you don't really have to talk too much about Wonder Woman. And since everybody knows about Batman from Batman v Superman, and a lot of background on him, you don't have to do a lot of Batman either. But the point is, since they're the principles the story is carrying along with, you add a little bit more with Batman, a little bit more with Wonder Woman. That's the two characters you push. Alright? The Flash, Aquaman, you can add a little bit more to Aquaman, a little bit more with the Flash. You keep Superman and Cyborg in the dark. You don't need to know nothing about Superman and Cyborg. Keep them mystery figures. Let people wonder what is their roles in Justice League until Justice League comes out. Okay? You don't need to know nothing about Steppenwolf either. But you can hint towards Steppenwolf, his presence. You can hint towards Superman's presence. You can hint towards Cyborg's presence. That's how you can build your story. People are interested. They're like, Superman, Cyborg. Because people are dying to know a little bit more about each one of these characters. So what you really want to do, and especially for the people who are turned off, you don't need to give them much more. The story is built around these characters. Notice I didn't even mention a word about Green Lantern. Keep Green Lantern out of this. You don't need to know anything about Green Lantern. You're going to know about Green Lantern when you see the movie. We know Green Lantern's going to be in this movie in some way, shape, or form. We don't need to know nothing more than that. Because this movie has a number of gems, a number of surprises, a number of people who come into it. Keep to the storyline. Don't have to tell. You don't even have to tell 5% of the storyline. Just a general theme. But in this case, you keep to your principles. So the first introductory kind of trailer of the Justice League. I know Justice League's trailer is going to come out sometime this month here. The introductory of the Justice League kind of gave us the whole fabric and framework for which the story is about. If you're going to drop a next trailer on Justice League, hopefully, like I said, you don't need to drop a trailer this year. This was good enough. And boy, is this photo gorgeous. It's a gorgeous photo, man. It's gorgeous. But if you're going to drop something else with Justice League, if you're going to drop something else, okay, and then drop a photo, or like you did with Suicide Squad, build up some sort of information, something for people to look into and interact with. There's no reason for Warner Brothers to have to drop more material, and Justice League is so far away. And even Wonder Woman is, to me, it's an eternity away. It's very far away. It's the middle of next year. So there's no reason you need to drop anything new with Wonder Woman. You can hold your hand a little bit more and maybe drop out a photo, or leak a photo, or leak, or do some interactive website, something. There's no reason to drop anything new with Wonder Woman. You drop 2 trailers with Wonder Woman, that's good enough. People will feast on that until a couple months into coming to Wonder Woman. I would say maybe you drop photos of Wonder Woman, or you give some background history on the legacy of Wonder Woman. You include Wonder Woman maybe in a Justice League something at the end of some CW thing, some CW episode or so on television. My point anyway is, there is no reason to flood the gates with Wonder Woman, to flood the gates with Justice League. As you're heading towards Wonder Woman's movie, maybe you can drop a Justice League trailer there, But what I'm saying is, when it heats up, and if you're talking about Wonder Woman, you do a Justice League trailer where Wonder Woman is a part of it. You get what I'm saying? I like how Zack Snyder, he took the coming near to Star Wars, and he released the Batman v Superman trailer, which was excellent. It was wonderful with the Star Wars theme in it. I think those are the kinds of things you need to do. You got to be really miserly with how you release your information concerning your movies. And don't worry about leaks and all those things, because some people will try and leak stuff and whatever. I don't really care. I'm not going to be looking for that stuff. And those people who are looking for leaked information and stuff, that's their problem. I'm not on that. I am looking for authentic information with high HD quality. And once we see Wonder Woman, then afterwards, I say Wonder Woman only needs any additional information, a trailer with additional information. I say you put out something maybe a month or so before the Wonder Woman movie. Besides that, you just need to rehash the same trailer, splice it up, cut it up, rehash it. Make sure it fits in with the story of the movie. Don't be hyping up the trailer so much that it doesn't fit into the movie. And I think Patty Jenkins is a very good director, so she would put together the movie in a proper format that people can follow, but at the same time, she's going to have a unique style added to it. this is my hope. Warner Brothers needs to have minimal interaction with Patty Jenkins concerning the movie, how she's going to tell her story, because I think it's very important that she tells the story properly. If you want to put extended information into the DVD like they did with Suicide Squad, that's all right and good and dandy, because I thought that Suicide Squad, the theatrical cut, was better than the cut that David Ayer did, okay, which was a little bit more longer. And David Ayer's cut, by the way, both were his cuts, but I'm just saying the one that David Ayer did was great as well, but I think it kind of was a little too perturbing for the targeted audience we're looking at. With Wonder Woman, this is very important to get this right, especially in this political atmosphere that's here. I saw that Wonder Woman was removed from as UN ambassador, which I thought was very, very poor to have done. I think that Wonder Woman would have been a great UN ambassador, but it depends on the controversial statements made by certain people why this could have possibly happened. However, I will say that in terms of Wonder Woman, the movie, that is going to be a very highly anticipated movie. I'm going to say this again. I don't give a rat's butt what the critics think about this movie. I don't care what they think. If they want to trounce this movie, I don't care. I really don't care. What's important though, Suicide Squad came out and they were erratic and so on. Batman v Superman came out and it was also erratic in terms of the storytelling was not linear. Now it's very important that Patty Jenkins tells this story. If she's going to use flashbacks, fine, that's all well and good and dandy. But she must make sure that the flow of the story flows. It must flow. Patty Jenkins must get the flow of the story right if she wants universally everyone to enjoy this story. So she's going to have to be somewhat conventional in how she tells the story. She cannot do it chop, 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 chop. Snyder did. They chopped up Batman v Superman. When I saw Batman v Superman, the cut that Snyder had in mind for that movie, while it was a longer cut, it was absolutely the cut that should have gone into theaters. WB got that wrong. Suicide Squad, on the other hand, they got right. They got the right cut for that because it was the nature of villains, the nature of people who are, erratic and irrational to some degree in how they reason out things. Ayer captured that in Suicide Squad, and WB did an excellent job with Ayer and with the people who worked together to get the right feel for Suicide Squad, which is why Suicide Squad did so well at the box office, better than a lot of people expected with the gloom and doom reports that they had for the movie and with the ratings that the critics gave it. So if Wonder Woman can build on the actual nature of Wonder Woman. See, the movie must reflect the nature of Wonder Woman. It cannot afford to be erratic. Batman v Superman, Man of Steel was well done. It was very much, even though there were flashbacks, it was well done, and it was very linear in how it told its story, and there was a flow to it, except at the end of the movie where it just didn't end exactly the way how it could have ended better. Right? Even though Superman snapped Zod's neck, I thought that I understood what Snyder was trying to do, but I thought that it didn't feel organic, how that last bit of the fight was. It was very violent coming down to the last bit of the fight. I think Snyder suspended time, sort of like what happened at the end of Suicide Squad. It kind of ended on a suspended of time. You don't do those things at the end of a movie, and I don't think Wonder Woman would be like that. I really truly don't, because I think that it has to come back to the present time. It's a period piece. So I think of course it has to end in such a way that it's kind of sad, kind of like a Shakespearean sad, kind of dramatic feeling. So I suspect that once you don't suspend belief and time and you make it as I know it's superpower beings, but nonetheless, you keep it kind of realistic and you don't suspend time. See, what happened with Snyder, I understood what he was trying to do. But with Zod saying never, it almost felt when Superman was trying to tell Zod to stop with the suspension time. It didn't feel like that Superman had Zod in a great grip, and therefore he had no option. The fact that Zod was saying never at that last part felt very unrealistic. Superman, something else had to transpire so that Zod could have actually shot out of his eyes and killed those people. Superman snapping Zod's neck, his laser vision should have killed the people, because Superman was just snapping the head. The head would have to jar one way and then the other. So, the realism of it kind of was lost in the dialogue. And I think Snyder I knew he wanted to emphasize those parts at the end of the movie, but I think he needed to get the action to be something like that, where Superman had no choice but to kill Zod. And the only way was, in other words, I think Zod should have been freer, or he should have flung Superman off of him, been able to use his laser vision, and the people just get out of the way of his laser vision. And Superman comes in, or Superman's telling him to stop, and he says never, and then he shoots his laser vision, and Superman tackles Zod and snaps his neck. Something like that. It needed to flow. There was a suspension of flow in that moment. And that's the problem with that particular story. And if Patty Jenkins can keep the flow so that you think that Wonder Woman had no choice, or whatever happened, there was no other way this could have transpired. See, Zack didn't do the greatest job of getting that done at the end of Man of Steel. Patty Jenkins has the opportunity to get that done. Now, if she's already done what she's done, doesn't make sense going and re-editing it. The important thing is that how you end the story. If she can execute that well, if she can execute the ending of the story well, if she has a flow throughout the story, it needs to have a flow now, a linear flow. If she can get that nailed down properly, so that everyone of almost every age can follow Wonder Woman. It's very important that Wonder Woman not be Suicide Squad, not be a demographic driven film. It needs to be a film that is able for everybody, kind of like a Ben-Hur feel, the ancient Ben-Hur feel, Gladiator feel. Everyone of every age group should be able to take in Wonder Woman. And I think Patty Jenkins, along with the writer, I forgot his name right now, who's the head of all of the DC films and Warner Brother films, I believe Patty Jenkins, along with him, I think they're going to put together that combination where it's not funny. It's filled with adventure, but yet there's cost. There's going to be cost. There's going to be the feelings of drama, sadness, happiness, and so on. It's not going to be bland. It's going to be character driven as well, but it's going to have a nice, strong storyline. So that's what I'm looking for with Wonder Woman. And with Justice League, it's Zack Snyder. So Zack Snyder's always a layered guy. I just hope that Zack Snyder can do a good job in the case of Justice League of conveying not necessarily the subtleties, but just the overt parts of the story in a very well woven storyline, as he did with Man of Steel. I think Batman v Superman. Oh, and the other thing, that WB does not interfere with what Zack Snyder is trying to do. If the movie is going to be 3 hours long, so be it. Let it be 3 hours long. I think that WB is going to. You have to sometimes let your director take the risk and let your director do his thing. Patty Jenkins, please, WB, do not interfere with her story. I'm pretty sure her story is going to be short. It's not going to be super long. Do not interfere with her story. Let her tell her story. Hopefully, Patty Jenkins does an excellent job of it. And who knows where this could lead. When it comes to Justice League, I'm hoping that Zack Snyder's able to tell his story, okay? I'm sure that WB will do their tests to see that target audience groups are satisfied with Wonder Woman, screenings and so on. It's very important that the target audience, which should be a very wide target audience for Wonder Woman especially, that they are satisfied. You want to do your DVDs after, make sure that the theatrical cut is one of a standard where people really enjoy it. And then if you have any additional stuff you want to put in for your DVD, your home entertainment release, let's supplement that. But it's very important that this time they get it right with the theatrical cut. I think for it to be universally accepted. I really don't care about the critics. What's very important is that the audience, because people are getting an appetite to these WB films. Man of Steel, most people thought, there was a lot of lashback. So Man of Steel suffered it the worst. Batman v Superman, while it's called the worst film ever, a lot of people actually enjoyed that film. All right, it wasn't the audience response was different. Suicide Squad got the best response so far. Most people think that Suicide Squad, while it's not the best storytelling like Man of Steel, definitely much more character development than Man of Steel, and definitely better than Batman v Superman in that regard. So we've gotten this fan base that is built up with WB films. Patty Jenkins has the opportunity to really expand that fan base to a huge extent. Whether there's negative press about Wonder Woman, whether the critics decide to bash the film, it's really irrelevant. What's really relevant here is that they don't make a ton of money off of Wonder Woman and people are still disappointed about the movie. All right? If you build up like Suicide Squad, a lot of people were not disappointed with Suicide Squad. A lot of people loved Suicide Squad. The only people who were disappointed about were the critics. So it's very important that with Wonder Woman, that people are satisfied with Wonder Woman more than they were satisfied with Suicide Squad. It is a standalone film. It is a origin film. And so its success can range from moderately good to at the box office to very good at the box office. But the important thing is not so much its box office success as it is that people think it is one of the good films, really solid, really wonderful. That's what's very important, because it's not so much its box office success, even though more than likely it'll be a box office success, but it's the overall success by the audience, the overall success by people. If we can get critical acclaim on top of that, fantastic. But for now, what's very important is that you get overwhelming audience approval of it, and through all ranges of ages. Very important. All ranges of ages can go see this film. All ranges of ages. Very important, especially in this time, in this political climate, that Wonder Woman becomes successful, because there's an anti-feminist sort of environment we're living in, post Barack Obama, now Putin and Trump and all of these kind of extreme right leadership. It's very important. This movie is actually is very key to continuing a certain movement forward. And hopefully Hollywood understands this, how critical this movie really is. So we're hoping that Wonder Woman will be not only a financial success, but more than that, an overwhelming success for all age groups of people. And hopefully the critics in Hollywood understand the importance of this movie, and will be able to see hopefully see the vision of Patty Jenkins in this movie clearly articulated throughout it. So that's the hope I have, because it's very important that Wonder Woman be, Jeff Johns is the guy I was thinking about, that is clearly articulated. Hopefully Jeff Johns is successful, and Patty Jenkins, at producing a movie that is really of a certain ilk. And of course Jeff Johns is also involved in Justice League with Zack Snyder. So hopefully these two movies really take it to the next level in terms of, because we already know that these movies have a fan base. But now, hopefully, it's the breakthrough. These movies will break through past their fan base, be able to look at people who are critical of them, who are also opposing them and negative towards them, and be able to receive them in a wider audience. Justice League is going to be a Zack Snyder film. It's going to be Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's very much into detail, and he's not necessarily into cliche ways of roles being carried out. So I expect it to be the typical Zack Snyder film. But what I do expect from Justice League is that they are able to interweave certain subtleties with overt things as well. So Batman v Superman, as I said before, is a masterpiece. The director's cut, or the whatever you want to call it. Justice League needs to be, the theatrical cut needs to be the director's vision, and it's very important that if Patty Jenkins is successful, that you do not mess with Zack Snyder's vision for Justice League. Hopefully Zack Snyder does not do some 4-hour cut or some 3-hour cut, but he's able to do what he kind of pulled off with Man of Steel, but better, because you have interplay of characters. And hopefully this interplay of characters is realistic. It feels situational, like situational humor. But at the same time, the plot, the story makes it so that you really not just feel for the characters in a flippant way, as typical Hollywood have it, but actually feel for the ideologies, understand and align with certain ideologies. Some ideologies you will not align with, and some ideologies you will. That's very important. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this movie Justice League pans out. It's a pretty long video I just gave. You guys have a great one.